Find the length of the vector A and what? And V. This is V. So to find the length of vector is the same thing as what? Is the same thing as finding the magnitude of the vector. So therefore I have to say the length of this vector is the same thing. Magnitude is the same thing as taking the square root of what? Of vector, of the vector that you are given. So I have to say plus what? Plus 1, and therefore plus negative what? 2 squared, and I have squared. Also I have squared. So the magnitude of this should now be equals to 2 squared, which is 4, plus what? Plus 1, plus what? Plus 4. So therefore this is the same thing as what? As saying all in root. I have 4 plus 1, which is 5, plus what? 4, which is 9, is the same thing as what? Is the same thing as 3. So therefore we are done with the first question. The same question, feel free to pause the video so that you will have a try over there, you will get the correct answer. So therefore the magnitude of B also is the same thing as taking the square root of all this. I'll have 3 squared plus negative what? 6 squared plus 2 squared. So if I say 3 square, which is 9, 6 squared 36, and this which is 4, 30, I have 9, I have 36 plus 4, which is 40, plus 9, which is 49. So which is root of 49 is the same thing as 7. So therefore we are done with what? We are done with the first question. The second question says find the direction of what? Of the following vector. We all know that the direction formula says V is the same thing as V divided by the magnitude of what? Of that vector. So I have to first find the magnitude of this. To find the magnitude of this, I have to say magnitude of vector V is the same thing as what? As 4 squared plus 3 squared plus 5 squared, which is the same thing as, which is 16 plus 9 plus what? Plus 25. So if I say 16 plus 9 plus 25 is the same thing as what? Is the same thing as root of what? Root of 50. And therefore in short form the root of 50 is what? Is 5 root of what? 2. So I'm asked to find the direction. So I have to say this V, it should now be equals to, I have what? 4. I have to say 4 divided by 5 is the same thing as 4 divided by 5 root of 2, which is I, and I have to say plus what? Plus 3 divided by 5 root of 2, which is J, also plus 5 divided by what? 5 root of 2, which is what? Which is also K. So this is the direction of what? Direction of this vector. So this is the same thing as saying, if you like, you can simplify this. This is the same thing as saying 2 root of 2 divided by 5 I, and therefore plus 3 root 2 divided by 10 of J, also plus root of 2 by 2 of K. So you can simplify it as what? As this, it is all the same thing. So let's move to what? Let's move to this second question. Also we are asked to find the what? We are asked to find the direction. So I have to first find the magnitude. Magnitude of this is the same thing as taking the root 3 over what? 5 squared plus 4 over 3 squared is the same thing as 3 square, which is 9, over 5 square, which is 25, plus 4 square, which is 16, and 3 square, which is what? Which is 9. So What will be the LCM between this and this? LCM, I think 225 can go. 225 can go. So if I say 225 into 25 is the same thing as 225 into 25 multiplied by 9. Is the same thing as 81. 81 plus this into this multiplied by this is the same thing as 400, all in root. So this is the same thing as 481 in root divided by 225. So I can take the square root of this 225 to get 15, but I can't take the square root of this. So the magnitude should now be equals to root of 481 by 15. So this is the magnitude of what? This is the magnitude of this. I'm asked to find the direction. So the direction of this should now be equals to, according to formula says v is the same thing as v by what? By the magnitude, which is direction of vector. So the v should now be equals to what? What is the value of v, which is 3 by what? By 5 divided by what? This, which is root of 481 by 15i, and therefore plus 4 by what? By 3 divided by root of 481 by 15, which is what? K. So this is the solution to what? To the second question. So the third question says express this vector as a product of its magnitude and direction. Next thing that I'm going to do, I have to first find the magnitude of it, because expressed as a product of its magnitude and direction. So I have to first find its magnitude. Magnitude, which is taking the square root and put what? Put 2 squared minus, or let me say plus negative 1 squared plus what? Plus 1 squared is the same thing as 4 plus 1 plus 1 is the same thing as what? Root of 6. Root of what? Root of 6. So the next thing that I'm going to do is that the question says expressed as a product of what? Of its magnitude and direction. So I've already find the magnitude of this, which is root of 16. So the next, which is the length and what? The length and direction. So if I said length and direction, let me say the length and what? And direction of this. So this is the same thing as v, it is the same thing as magnitude of v times this direction. So v should now be equals to, I already find, which is root of 6 multiplied by v by this, which is the direction. So the next thing that I'm going to do is that I have to first find the direction, which is the same thing. Let me say root of this. I have to say 2 by root of 6. This is root of 6, and also I minus 1 over root of 6 j plus 1 over root of 6. I hope you get this point. So therefore I have to say the v is the same thing as root of 6, 2 by root of 6 I minus 1 over root of this j plus 1 over root of 6 k. So therefore you can leave your answer like that, because it says this vector as a product of its magnitude and length. Magnitude and direction. Magnitude and direction is the same thing as saying length and direction. So it says product of its. So as you can see, the product of what? Of this magnitude and what direction. This is magnitude and product. Product is like a multiplication times the direction of the vector. So the last but not the least says that if A is the same thing as this, then find the length and direction. So we have to find the length and direction of what? the length and direction of this. Last question. So the length, which will now be the magnitude A, is the same thing as taking the root of what? 2 squared plus negative what? 3 squared plus 7 what? 7 squared, which is the same thing as 4 plus 9. 7 squared. 7 squared is what? 7 squared is 49 in a row. So this should now be equals to this plus this, which is 62. So this is a magnitude. So the direction should now be V is the same thing as V by this is the same thing as what? 2 by root of 62 I minus 3 by root of 62j plus what? 7 by root of 62 what? K. Therefore, this is what the unit of the direction of what? Of the vector. I have A. I have to change because I'm dealing with vector A. So therefore, this is all I have for you for this exercise that I solved. This 4 exercises. I hope these exercises are more helpful to you. Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thanks you for watching. Have a nice day.